This is an art attack. This is an art attack. This is Art Attack. Oh, hello there. Good to see you again. Excuse me. There it is. Got it. I've just squashed, well, it's a sort of squash thingy, really, isn't it? The trouble is, they get absolutely everywhere. I think I got one in here earlier. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, another squashed thingy. In fact, I've been squashing thingies all day. Look at that. Not a pretty sight. Come and have a look at this. Now, to make a squashed thingy, just take a piece of drawing paper and on it draw a splat shape. It's a sort of blobby, wobbly flower shape, really. Just to all splat it out like that. And then on it, draw some splattered facial features. Now, make it look as if it's been really trodden on. So do those facial features all over the place. They don't have to look like real features, because after all, this is just a squashed, well, thingy. Look at that, really gruesome. Tongue hanging out and everything there. That's it. That's really splattered out. And then you can add in other things like little arms. Again, splayed out like that. And little legs. And you can put other bits and pieces on if you want to. A little leg out there. I think one out there as well. And now it really does look very squashed. And then colour it in. Now start by colouring it in a light colour to start with. And it's a good idea just to make sure that your outline is dry before you colour it in. I'm all right because everything dries really quickly in my studio lights. So hot. And then when you've coloured all of those splats in the light colour, just take a darker colour and just go round the outside edge of all of those splats, just to make it look slightly 3D. And you make those splats look really splodgy. And what this is doing really is just putting a shadow around the edge and making it look 3D. And now it really does look squashed. And then if you colour in the arms, legs and all the other little bits and pieces that you draw, cut it out, you will have something that looks like that. A squash thingy. Or you could try a different coloured squash thingy, like that. Or what about adding on some different features, like that squash thingy? And what do you do with them? Well, you place them somewhere so that they look as if they've been squashed. You can place them in your books. They make great bookmarks. You can cover them in sticky back plastic and squash them with your cup. Perfect to protect the furniture. You can even stick them on the back of your school file. Ouch. And what about this? Make some extra blobby bits, put some sticky tack on the back, carefully stick it to your window, and it looks as if he's flown into the window and really splattered. Try it yourself. A squash thingy. Ugh.
Hello! Yes, it's me, the Head. Now, those squashed things are great, aren't they? All you do is draw a blobby, wobbly flower shape onto paper, draw in some funny squashed facial features and some little arms and legs. Colour it lighter in the middle and darker around the edges so it looks nice and squashed. Carefully cut it out to get your own squashed thing that you can put wherever you like. And you can do loads and loads of different designs. Just keep making them. Hey, And you can even play tricks on people. You can leave your squashed thing on a chair. So someone thinks they've sat in something. Now, is that funny?
Yep. This gives me an idea for a big heart attack. What a strong image! And those bulging biceps made me want to do my very own muscle picture. Muscles? Get it? Muscles! Try lifting that lot. Lots of people ask me, how do you draw water? I mean, it's see-through, so how do you see it to draw it? Well, actually, there's lots of different ways of drawing water, but it depends what the water is doing. I'll show you what I mean with this cartoon strip. So, OK, here's Harry. He's really miserable because of the rainy weather. Now, when you're drawing rain, it's just a case of drawing these lightly drawn diagonal lines all going in the same direction. And to make it look really rainy, you could just draw these drips, little teardrop-shaped drips, dripping off everything, even off the end of his nose and off his chin there. And to make it look really horrible, what about a few puddles on the floor? And you could even do some of these tiny teardrop-shaped splashes jumping up like that, where the rainwater is plopping in to the puddles. So Harry was so fed up, he decided to treat himself to a holiday in the sun. Off he went to a beautiful Caribbean island where the water was still and calm. Now, if you want to draw still, calm water, don't do waves, just draw lightly drawn squiggle reflections of things in the water, like this boat there, squiggle reflection, and even this tree by the water's edge, little squiggle reflection there. And look at that, the water's really calm. Some days there was a warm sea breeze, and the water started to get a bit choppy and wavy. So if you are going to draw waves in water, here's a good tip. Draw the waves quite big in the foreground, like this, and then draw them getting smaller the further away they get. See the way I'm just drawing these slightly smaller now as they get into the distance, and just make them closer together. See the way I'm just closing the gap between them, so that eventually, when they get right into the distance, you can hardly see that they're waves at all. They just look like dots. And you get this great feeling of distance into your picture. Some days, Harry would go snorkeling underwater. Now, here's a good trick to make things look as if they're underwater. Just draw little bubbles rising up towards the surface from whatever it is that's underwater. And look at that. It really does look as if they're underwater. Very simple trick, that. Well, most days Harry would spend by the pool, just diving in to cool himself off. And if you want to draw things plopping into water, just draw these teardrop-shaped splashes jumping up, and then a couple of curved ripples rippling out from where he entered the water. Of course, if you want to draw heavier things going into the water, then just draw the splashes fanning out, a bit like fingers. See that? Do a couple of them there. She's quite heavy, and lots more ripples. There, like that. And don't forget, ripple around him there as well. Now, some days Harry would have the pool all to himself and he'd just relax in the still, calm water. And you can even draw ripples around things to make them look as if they're standing in that still, calm water. Even this ladder, watch this, a couple of ripples, and it looks like they're actually in the water, not resting on it. And if it's still and calm, don't forget the squiggle reflection. Well, it was soon time for Harry to go home from his holiday, and all his holiday friends were really upset to see him go. So if you want to do someone crying or shedding a tear, just draw this teardrop shape coming from the corner of their eye. Harry, well, he was so upset, he bawled his eyes out. And if you want to draw someone really howling, just draw these little teardrops spraying out like that, and a couple of puddles on the floor like that. And even draw some lightly drawn lines in there to show that they're water. Try it yourself. Put some water into your drawings and cartoons.
I never knew drawing water could be so easy. Hey, I've been practicing all those tips. Little tear shapes, wiggly lines, bubbles and ripples. Well, that's me, in a calm puddle, crying my eyes out in the rain, underwater. Effective, isn't it?
Hello, my name is Sophie and I had a nut attack with cardboard. I made my huge bee mobile by using paint and I used pipe cleaners for the legs.
My name is Philip. I had an art attack. I painted some houses on one side of my paper and folded it so that it made a print of the houses onto the other half.
Hello, my name is Rebecca and I've drawn an ancient urn. I painted an underwater design on it with dolphins swimming and seaweed floating at the bottom of the ocean.
My name is Andrew. To make my picture, I drew a grid out of squares.
Then I use paints to colour in the squares, starting with dark blue at the bottom, leading up to light blue at the top.
Hello, my name is Claire and this is my simple chain pattern. I made the background by marbling paints. I cut circles from coloured paper and stuck them on top of it.
Hi, my name is Paul, and this is a 3D tree I made from using a toilet roll and coloured tissue paper. I stuck the tree onto a cardboard base and painted the trunk brown with black lines to make it look old.
Yes, fantastic art attacks. And do you know what? That loo roll tree started me thinking. And look what I've come up with. A multicoloured pencil tree to hold your pencils and pens. And it is so easy to make. All you need is the inside cardboard tube from a kitchen roll. See that? And then you take a ballpoint pen and simply pierce holes all over the side of your cardboard tube, and you just press your pen through, wiggle it about a bit to make the holes slightly bigger. Now you can actually use a sharp pencil for this, but do be careful because you might break the tip. And the idea is to cover the cardboard tube in about 12 holes altogether. See that? All over the cardboard tube. Then take a piece of cardboard box card and stand the tube on its end and just draw around that end, just to create a small circle that's the same size as the end of the tube, and then take something that's circular but slightly bigger, like a roll of sticky tape or a small saucer, and again draw around that to create a circle. And when you cut both of those circles out, you'll have something that looks like that. And that will be the stand for your multicoloured pencil tray, and that will be the lid. And then take your cardboard tube, and you need some good strong all-purpose glue or some good old PVA glue, and just squeeze that out onto one end of your tube like that. Look at that for steady hands. And then place that down onto the bigger cardboard circle or the stand and just hold it into place. Squelch the glue down and hold it upright like that. And when it's dry, take a small pebble or a lump of modelling clay and just pop that down into the tube to act as a sort of weight so it doesn't fall over when you put your pencils in. And then, again, some glue along that top rim there, and yes, you've guessed it, you pop the lid on. That circle of cardboard neatly fits on the top. Just press it into the glue and leave it to dry. And when it's dry, here's a little trick. That one's dry. Just get a thicker pencil or pen, pop it into all of the holes and just bend it up like that so that you're actually bending the holes upwards, so that when you put your pens and pencils into your multicoloured pencil tray, they point upwards like the branches of a tree. And then it's ready to paint. You can paint it using poster paint or acrylic paint, but whatever you do, make sure you use lots of bright colours, because after all, it is a multicoloured pencil tray. And I've done mine here in rainbow stripes. And when the paint is dry, you can just take a thin black felt tip pen and just draw on some wispy lines. You've seen me do this many times before to create a sort of wood grain effect. And every now and then put a little 6 shape in for a knot in the wood, or maybe even a little 9 shape for an upside down knot. And when you've done that, you could even add in some wood grain rings around the top. See that? Don't have to be neat, just again wispy lines to give it the effect of wood grain. And when you've done the whole thing, pop it onto your table or your desk and use it to hold your pens and pencils. And you could even put your smaller pens or pencils into those bottom holes. And there it is, a multicoloured pencil tray. Try it yourself, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra!